So hello guys, welcome back to my channel. And in the last few videos we had completed the French defense against the King's Indian attack, and now we'll be starting with the infamous Sicilian, which is striking similar to French only. So let's see. Here the Sicilian move starts with the move c5. Now knight f3, e6 and d3. So this is our classic structure against French also in the line where black plays move, unlike the move where black plays the move g6. So g3 is also an option, but it's not right for this system because after the move d5 there is just no way you can transpose this into King's Indian attack, because if you take, then this is not a King's Indian attack, and if you play the move d3 then d takes c, and you will just be sitting with your king in the center, and that would be pretty dangerous. So not to play like this, I recommend you to play the move knight f3 first and d3 first, because if now black plays the move d5 then knight b2 would have come, and it takes, and then still this would be possible, so because the knight is sitting on d2. So yeah, so let's see. Now the move c3 is a pretty good alternative for white, but the main move is g3, transposing it. This is the obvious continuation, and here black can also play other moves like d5, and now the move queen e2 is also line, but the main move I recommend is knight e2, which transposes to our French, normal French, and I have told you earlier about it. So yeah, so the move d3 and the move, now let's see the move b6. So this is another move, and this fits the bill nicely actually, because the move g3, bishop b7, now both sides are trying to control this diagonal. So bishop g2, d6, castle, and the move bishop e7, and knight f6 is also pretty good, but white would play just simply this attack, but f5, f6, and try to build attack on the king side. So f2 f4 is also a plan, nice plan in this line. So this is just an example of how white can play here. So takes and takes, attacking the queen, so queen must take and queen f1. So here you can see that the white is simply double piece versus a rook, but the pieces aren't very good, because the next move would be queen g2, and this bishop is pretty open actually, and the knight is ready to jump. So there are pretty spots where white can place his knights, and this knight can regroup, like, or so yeah, so there are pretty good ideas here for white. So let's see some different lines. So knight f6 is not the only option here. The main line is bishop e7, and here white can just play the move rook e1. So this is no problem for white, and so this would just transpose into simple b6 line. But here white has some compensation for his open bishop. Like, the both sides are pretty flexible here, and there's no edge with any side. But yeah, I could see that white has a slightly positional edge, because his pieces are pretty good and starting to attack nicely, and synchronization is good between the white pieces, so white can generate some play. Yeah, so if you are a positional player, you will be striking for this position in white. So yeah, so let's go back to our move uh, knight c6, which is the main line of this variation, and now the move g3. This is a pretty obvious continuation, and but I should also mention the move c3, which is, we'll see the idea, because we have seen this idea d4 d5. So just a second, my pardon. So c3 is actually a good move for every King's Indian position because c3 actually limits this knight. Whenever you see the move knight c6, just a second, knight c6, the knight can either jump to knight d4 and knight b4, so c3 prevents both, and actually this is a counterpart for this bishop knight. So white pawn controls the knight, so yeah, so c3 is actually good. And I guess one of the point is that black can enter with g6, so c3, after c3 black can play the move g6, and white can forget about g2 g3 and continue with his centered approach. So this is a line d5 blocking the center because taking is acerbic, I would say acerbic for black here. So d5, e4, e5, sorry, and this bishop can play to g7, but it would be completely blocked. So yeah, so this is, sometimes you have to be flexible. You can't just go and just scout things and just go and play. You have to be flexible on the board. So I would be recommending you to stay as flexible as you can. And yeah, so now the move I would be seeking is g6, and now bishop g2, bishop g7. So this is a main line of Sicilian where black goes behind g7, knight ge7, and these are some pretty good pieces, and with the potential ideas of opening in the center and controlling this bishop by this diagonal. So this is again, so castle, knight ge7, and the move c3. So c3 is actually a very good move here because not only it blocks this and generates center play, but it also limits the movement of this knight. So c3 is actually a good move here, and here black can play the move d5, e5. So e5 is actually losing the tempo. Black can directly play the move e5, but the main point of the move e5 is he wants to place bishop here and start with f5, castle, h6, so trying to space away in the king side. Yeah, so e5 is a good idea, but simply white can just attack. And now the move knight h4, preparing f4. So yeah, so this is actually good. And another move is d5. Here I would recommend you to play queen e2. If white takes, and then white can just play the move here, so attacking the queen and gaining this file. So this is actually a good position for white, I would say. So let's see the main line here. So it always comes back to the main line. So rook e1, and the move d6 is a good move here, but after d6 you can play on the center. And yeah, so this is actually a good line. We will see this in the future. And the move a3 is, so now what is happening is, so as you can see the activity is pretty good with both sides, and white has its pieces developed. So now white is seeking some flexible play here. So actually you can see the black is pretty good defense on the king side. So white is trying to generate a queen set play by playing some moves like bishop e3, knight e2, or just a4 in the future somehow, and knight a3, and play the rook to b1, and then play the move b4, trying to generate something queenside. And so that's how white can counter here, and the move d6 and b4. So white here immediately plays the move b4, and given the fluid, I would say the fluid pawn formation, there is more than one reasonable plan for both white and black. So white can couple expansion on the queen side, with the preparation of eventually d3 d4. So this might be the idea for future. And then the black knight usually goes to a5. Black must be careful that the piece doesn't become sideline. So if he ever plays the move knight a5 after suppose this, so this piece can become sideline. So thank you guys, and don't forget to subscribe.